except Don Mortifolio won't be here tonight, and I don't see Eve Sturdivant yet, so she may jump in at any point. This may be very brief, depending on how much discussion we have about the final report. But first of all, can somebody make a motion to approve the minutes of the meeting of the 14th of July, please?
Motion to approve the minutes of July 14th meeting.
All right, Bruce made the motion. Somebody second?
Second.
Frank second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. What I would like to do, just so we can start the process of discussion, is have Loretta make a motion to submit the final report, approve and submit the final report to the Board of Selectmen, and have Frank second the motion in honor of all the work they've done on this report the last week or so. So Loretta, if you would.
Okay, I move that we approve and submit the final report to the first selectman.
I second the motion.
All right, now that we're not going to vote yet. That just opens for discussion. So I would open the floor for discussion. If you want to see the report, we can share it. If
Yeah,
you've all
I have
had
it open in front of me. So if you want me to screen share, I can, if that helps.
Why don't you put it? All right, Betsy.
I'm still struggling with the cost estimates.
Do we want to do a page turner?
Okay, let's everybody, just to help us.
Yeah.
We should go in the order of the pages, because otherwise we're going to be hopping all over and we may wind up confusing ourselves.
Yeah.
Loretta,
Okay.
can you share it? Can you share it so we can go down through it, please?
Okay, I think you need to make me co-presenter.
All set, Loretta. You should be able to share.
Okay,
Thank you, Dan.
let's see. Where am I? Okay, got it. Okay, can you see that?
Putting it up on the screen. Yeah, there we go.
That's up.
Okay, I'm gonna try to make it a little bit bigger too. What? Okay. Is it big enough for everybody to see?
Yes.
Okay,
Oh, I need to go back to,
I'm gonna go way up to the top. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
First page, we're good?
Hey.
Okay. Now,
August 1 is going to be the publication date.
the reason I put in the first is that I was sure we weren't gonna get it done tonight. Give ourselves that leeway.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay, is there anything in the executive summary? Now we're looking, in other words, is there a typo that's a problem? Or is there something that we said that somebody disagrees with?
I have a comment. Oh, also Loretta, the Wade word appears under process, so I'm not sure if that's one of the ones you want to change to add the T. But that's
What?
1, 2, 3.
Okay, Yvonne, I'm having a problem hearing you. You're not real loud.
Okay, I don't know how to make that any louder. Can you hear me now? No? Yes?
Okay, all right, now, tell me what section you're looking at.
Executive summary under process.
The fourth starred item.
Yes, the fourth item under process.
It should be weighed the way it is,
Okay, and not with the T.
not weighted, no.
Okay, and then under recommendations, I was just talking to Frank while everyone was coming online, and the second point, a comment. So the first point says, make use of the majority of the former center school to house a new Brookfield library. Accommodate the Parks and Rec Department and its programs within that facility. So I just wondered if we could clarify, or if you all think it needs clarification, because it could read.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. So we
Yeah.
could change it within the former center school.
Or with the
A remainder of the facility.
Right.
So you're
remainder,
not suggesting it's going to be housed within the library
Right.
bounds.
All right,
Just to clarify that you're going to use the rest of the portion not being taken up by the library will be
Right.
given to Parks and Recs for there.
Okay, I prefer putting in center school because I think it's real clear.
pardon?
Watch what I'm doing.
Within the remaining space,
Exactly.
within the remaining space.
You don't want people to read into that it's going to be accommodated out of the Brookfield library space.
Right.
That it's
Exactly.
going to be, right, carved out of the remainder of center school space.
I think you ought to be careful when we say accommodate Parks and Rec and its programs. Not nearly even a majority will be accommodated at center school.
Are you
They-
suggesting,
I mean,
suggesting drop and its programs?
Yes. I think that makes sense, Betsy.
I agree.
I agree, yeah.
All right, then we'll take a,
And you just have to add an N into remaining
okay, got it. Okay.
and an I.
Anything else in the recommendations?
Yeah, just remaining is
Just-
still incorrect.
Okay, any other comments on the executive summary?
My last comment on the executive summary is the last point. Sort of the second to last sentence where it's, or the second to last line. It says estimates supporting the conversion of the center school to a library and parks and recreation facility as compared to a tear down and construction of a new building. So I'm just wondering if it needs clarification because it could read as sort of instead of, and if our point is that we want to, we
No,
want
it's not
both
instead
for
of.
the purposes of comparison.
Let's compare.
When Frank wrote this originally, so I'm going to ask Frank to hop in. He was talking about a comparison, and if you go to that section later on, we're talking about compare renovation with a tear down and new construction.
I agree and I understand that. My point, as I was just saying to Frank earlier, is a number of people will not get past this executive summary. The executive summary is the most critical piece
Well, that's why we put it in. Yeah.
of the
Yes,
report,
the
right?
essence of the proposal.
So I was just wondering if anyone else feels that needs clarifying, because on first glance, it could read as that we want the estimates supporting the conversion of center school to a library and Parks and Rec facility as compared to. So if there's, any language to put in there, Frank, what do you think?
Well, I think it's fairly clear when the operative two words are as compared. As compared to.
What
How
about, if
about, how about substituting the word renovation for conversion? Supporting the renovation of center school as compared to tear down and rebuild. Instead of conversion of center school, supporting the renovation of center school.
The word renovation was used in the old reports from Tectron and 2
Yep.
years ago, because we were talking about upgrading the facility and using it for a school. I think this is a little different because this is, as Kevin's been pointing out, says you rip everything out and you start with a shell. To me, that's conversion.
Well, but it's
We're
really,
changing-
how about would potentially remodel be a better word?
well, we're changing the complete, we're proposing that they change the complete use of the facility. So
Right.
personally, I like conversion, but I wonder if we want to add where it says as compared to a tear down, say as compared to plans and estimates for a tear down and construction.
That's a little bit more clear.
Well, but you're engaging a design firm,
We already have,
develop plans and estimates.
I follow what you're saying, Frank, but like Yvonne said, a lot of folks aren't going to get past this page. We just have to make sure it's clear.
okay, so plans and estimates could be repeated here. Okay, that
Well,
makes
no,
it.
I'm just suggesting. I want to hear what everybody has to say about it first. If you're all happy with the way it is, that's fine. I just want to we just want to make sure this page is clear because you're right. A lot of people won't get past it.
Well, and I
Well,
think that
including a
repeating
comparison.
those words is good. I also think we ought to, it's not a design firm, it's an architect.
The
right.
use of
We-
the
Architectural firm.
is from the first selectman's charge.
Yeah, in other words, one of the things we want to be careful about is using the language that they use, which I think Frank and I have done a good job of making sure they do. And again, this is representative of what is throughout the report. So because the first selectman talked about a design firm, we've used the language throughout, therefore it's consistent to make it here. It doesn't matter. Remember, this is not a technical report.
No, but I don't know, well,
The-
I'm
the-
not
the-
sure I
the
know
correct-
what a design firm is as
The
opposed to
correct
it.
terminology should be design professionals. And this way, it's with an S at the end, so it includes all the architects, engineers, site, includes everybody.
Okay, that's a good,
Before we move away from this page, I just have a style question. So before we're ready to move on, I just want to ask.
okay, I want to finish this one sentence though.
Yeah.
It looks like this is what we want to do as compared to plans and estimates for a tear down and construction of a new building of similar use. Is that everybody okay with that?
Could it be including a comparison to plans and estimates for a tear down?
Where would you put the include?
In place of as, including a comparison.
Including a comparison to? Okay.
Again, you would have a plan and an estimate for a tear down, not plural. And I would suggest that the opening part of the sentence says, design professionals to develop plans, plural, and estimates, plural, which obviously suggests that there are two things. One of
Okay, again, I'm having a problem. Frank, your microphone is not strong, so speak slowly and loud. That's all I can suggest.
I'm sorry, my hearing is not good. What?
I can't hear you that well, and I want to make sure I'm getting what you're saying. And
Okay.
I've got my volume way up here.
What I'm saying is, I think we're overkilling here. We're saying we will be asking a design firm to develop plans, which is plural, and estimates, which is plural, which implies obviously that there are more than one. Supporting the conversion of the school to a library and parks and recreation, including a comparison to plan and an estimate for a tear down, singular. There is a plan and an estimate for a tear down, and there is a plan and an estimate for a conversion.
Okay. So he wants to get it in the same plurality. I agree with that. Either singular or plural. I agree with that. The first part of the sentence says plan and estimate for a conversion, and the second part wants to include possible tear down and new construction.
Instead of saying including, can we say as well as?
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
Frank, how does that sound?
Frank, you with us?
Yeah,
Yeah, he's reading it.
I don't think it should be as plans plural and estimates plural. There will be a plan and an estimate for a tear down.
Oh, so you want to make both singular?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Are we good, everybody? Next page.
Oh, hold on. Go back for a second.
Bruce, okay, what's up?
Bruce had a style question.
Yeah, from a style perspective, you have a period. You have a period at the last bullet in recommendations and a period after the last bullet on the prior paragraph.
Yeah, that's the way it's supposed to be.
Okay, so it's okay. So that's throughout the document.
throughout the whole document.
Okay, all right, that's fine.
That's-
I just wanted to,
Oh, I found one. Wait a minute. I found a period doesn't belong there. Okay.
yeah, I just wanted to be consistent. I just wanted to be consistent. That's fine.
No, I have tried to be consistent.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Anybody on page 2? Kevin, you had something on page 2. If I remember that email that you sent me like 5 minutes before I sat
5
down.
minutes ago. Yes, in the middle, under center school facility, second line, it's Route 25. instead of-
Oh, yeah. What happened to my 5? Okay, thank you. Anything else on that page,
And
anybody?
then the top of the second paragraph, it says includes adequate parking. I think we should change that to ample parking. Because I wouldn't want to get caught up in saying that at some
No,
point.
I wondered because that was it was in there and I lifted stuff out of other people's
Yeah,
materials. So
Yeah.
it wasn't my opinion. I don't think there's enough parking, but that's another story.
Well, so why don't we just leave it? Why don't we just say it includes parking?
What does everybody think? Yes, no?
Um,
Well, I think it's probably a good idea to characterize the parking. It could be inadequate, it could be ample, but if you say includes parking, what kind of parking is it?
yeah, I like the word ample.
Yvonne, you're the one who knows how much parking is needed.
Well,
What's your opinion?
so what I don't have off the top of my head is how many spaces we thought we could get there. And I don't think that's possible until we have a design. But we did look at 150 parking spaces for our 2018 proposal.
No, it's
so-
nowhere near that.
I think it was around 75 we calculated roughly.
So I don't think we can say then adequate or ample if we're comparing it to that.
No,
think-
this is describing the site as it is, not what it would be proposed.
So,
Okay, that's an interesting thing because here we're describing the status quo.
Right.
yeah.
We're not describing future, we're describing present.
Right.
so should we then say it includes ample parking for its current for its current use or?
No, I don't think so.
So why not just parking? I mean, it's
Yeah,
not,
I tend to think
ample.
like Betsy does. I think we just need to say it includes parking, period. I'm gonna take it out. Okay. I'm looking at this, Kevin,
Yep.
take a look at the beginning of the next paragraph. Is it Tecton or Tectron?
As you have spelt it is correct.
Is that correct? Okay.
Yes.
Now I'm
then
gonna look at things and I won't even know.
Stay where you are, Loretta. The next sentence or the next line right underneath, a space between on and 170.
Just fixed it, yeah.
Thank you.
And then also, I think we should add a comment about sprinklers because we're talking about wood construction and sprinklers is they have to go together.
Yeah, okay, so there is no central air conditioning within it. There is a sprinkler system. How would you give us a sentence? The building is fully sprinklered?
Fully sprinkled, that's correct, sprinklered.
Has an existing sprinkler fire suppression
Yeah,
system.
yeah.
How would you, come on, Kevin, you're the one.
Sprinklered is the way people say it. I don't know if that's really English, but sprinkler.
L-E-R-E-D. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But would people understand that?
If they don't, they shouldn't be reading it.
Whoa.
Ding,
Any of this,
ding.
to,
Do we want to say the building is equipped with a fire suppression system
Oh,
that includes sprinklers?
No,
I'm getting into some,
That's the technical term of sprinklers is a fire suppression system, but most people don't know what that means.
yeah,
That's fine the way it is, I think.
Yeah.
okay. Done with this page?
I just have one question on, again, sort of style over in that gray box on the right,
Yeah,
sort of around the middle where it says do tax dollars, comma, fundraising, donations. Fundraising, more commonly, I think is one word.
no, actually Word kept on kicking it out.
Okay,
what do
Because I looked at that and I thought it was supposed to be
What?
like hyphenated.
It
Oh.
said, yeah, I did check and it said hyphen has sometimes been used as well. But it's, again, I think it's just a style thing. It just
Yeah,
stood out at me because I,
Hyphens are overused.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay, are we ready then?
Okay,
three?
page 3.
Is this in Google Docs or are you saving somewhere along the line?
I'm saving it in Word.
Thank you.
I'm not going to Google
I
Docs.
just wanted to
because
make
it'll
sure we're
wreck
getting-
my formatting.
No, I just want to make sure we're saving, that's all.
No, I'm saving it. You notice I changed, if you look at the top, I
Yep.
changed the name of it and put the word edits in. So I know what
Okay.
I've got here. And when I need to change it back into a PDF, it won't be an issue.
Should there be a space after the end of the first paragraph before methods?
Say again?
Should there be a space after the first paragraph and before Roman numeral 2 methods?
Let's see what I do in other places. Yeah, it looks like, well, maybe, I don't know. I could do it.
Yeah, I would put as long as it doesn't mess up the rest of the page. I'd recommend a space there.
No, it's not. It's going to make me, you know what it is? I know exactly where the problem is. It's right there. For some reason, it keeps on picking up stuff.
That looks better.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, everything else on page 3 is good.
No, in the first paragraph,
What is that?
we lost it. Where-
Okay,
What is this, the fourth line down? You say through the senior citizen, I would delete the.
through senior citizens. Okay.
And can you spell through the way it's properly spelled?
Yeah. Now you have to yell at Frank a little bit. I just took what he wrote and put it in here. Come on, guys.
Nobody's yelling, we're admiring, believe me.
That is true. That
We
is-
take equal responsibility for the writing.
Loretta, it should be through senior citizen, through the senior citizen,
No, we just took out the.
citizens plural, one or the other.
From preschool through senior citizen. I think you may,
Plural, you want a plural there?
I think there's
Yes.
an extra space between the pre-dash and school and the line before it.
Ah, got it.
Nice catch.
That's interesting. You know, you spell check and it doesn't pick this stuff up.
We should leave that in, just so we have something defined at the end.
Oh, should it be from preschoolers? Through senior
Senior
citizens?
citizens.
Because we're talking about people.
The senior citizen, I would make them both singular.
You like singular. If we do it plural here, I still think this sounds like a human being, and this sounds like a description of a class of people.
No?
Well, senior citizens is a class of people.
But I think what you're saying is, I think we either have to say from preschoolers through senior citizens or from preschool through senior citizens.
Right. Well, so which will you prefer?
Or through the senior citizen population or something, but you
Oh, that
can't,
gets a little too.
yeah, so maybe preschoolers through senior citizens.
That's
That
fine.
works.
Okay, all right. Okay, anything else?
And then in presentations, it says scheduled 7 hearings, but didn't we invite others and they declined?
Yeah.
We're just talking about who came.
Yeah, I don't want them to give them the impression that we only invited these 7.
Okay,
But even if you say, I don't know how to say that, but
so let's see, the committee invited. And I don't remember how many didn't come. Numerous,
Yes.
Numerous survey respondents.
yes.
yes, very good.
And should 7 be spelled out if it's under 10?
No,
And you have to, if you do that, you got to go back to the prior page and do it throughout the document, because the prior page had.
actually, it's up to 3 that you do. 1, 2, 3 is words and everything else is numerals now.
Okay.
On that, for that line we're talking about, the committee invited numerous, might suggest the committee invited all surveys,
Right.
somehow to say all
No,
surveys.
no, we didn't. We did not.
Oh,
invite-
wait. All who responded.
No,
No, we did not.
did yes.
We
Every
in-
meeting,
No.
we named two.
We invited anybody who wanted to come before us. We had a lot of people decline.
Oh,
But they were invited.
They were invited.
that's
Oh.
it.
I want to make it clear that we invited everybody, and we ended up with 7, but we invited everybody who wanted to come
Okay, so we invited all survey respondents to
to appear before the committee
appear.
And present.
or present. Yeah.
No, we didn't. I like appear before the committee.
Sounds ominous.
Yeah.
It does.
Sounds like Congress.
Yes,
Or the hearing.
I would say present, yes.
Well, I don't want to be redundant with words, you know.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
I don't like the word hearings.
Oh,
I'm not sure. what to change it. And how
That's
could
it.
you say
That
schedule
makes
7
That makes it
presentations?
sound like Congress.
Just say
Okay.
scheduled 7
schedule 7 presentations. Good.
Yeah.
Good. That's easy.
And then if we want to move on from that one, down under Brookfield Library, that building is actually 9,500 square feet.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm a little bit picky about it because the library just went through this process, in the last year and a half, 2 years. So some people know the numbers.
Uh-huh.
Someone saying we're cheating on anything. 95.
I thought we were using 96.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yvonne, you have an opinion?
We have used 9,600, but you do say approximately.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, we'll have to remember to make that correction later on too, where we talk about the
Okay, Frank, you keep an eye on that for me.
second floor. Okay, any other comments?
No.
Anything else on page 3? No?
Okay, can we go to 4?
Okay.
A question, Loretta. I may have missed it, but in the attachments, did you have the presentation of the Parks and Rec?
Yeah, it's in the addendum. And the what are you calling it? The exhibits. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I went through it. For some reason or other, I missed it.
Should there be a comma in the first line between meeting space and et cetera?
The first is
The first line at the top of the page?
yes.
Yvonne,
Yes.
do you want to add on the top page right there, one of the only art galleries in Brookfield?
I think the people who are in the
have-
Arts Commission might have something to say about that.
One of 2 art galleries and one of the only.
Leave it.
It's not a bad add-on because it is very unique to have.
Although they do exhibit art at the town hall too.
Yeah, that's why I think you were saying, Richard, one of the.
Yeah,
And at the craft center.
Yeah, exactly.
So maybe leave it then.
Yeah. I mean that's not like
Maybe instead of one of, just say community meeting space, art
Art
gallery
gallery.
space, etc.
yeah.
okay. Where are we doing this?
On that top line before, etc. Community meeting space, comma, art gallery, exhibit space.
Okay.
That's a good add-on, Richard. I think it gives it more dimension, so.
Mhm.
And that's interesting because when we were looking at all the plans and talking about the center school, nobody ever talked about gallery space. And I'm like, are they not thinking they want to do that anymore?
Yeah, we definitely would need to do that.
Well, we're not architects, so we didn't bring it up.
Any other comments? On page 4.
On page 4, yes.
Oh.
Where?
All right, can we move to page 5?
Okay,
Any comments? Any comments for a second time?
anybody?
That bottom line, please submit after, that's intentional, right?
Where are you?
Where you've got the ellipses there, that's intentional, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
okay, everybody good?
I'm good
Yeah.
there.
Page,
Okay, page 6.
page 6? Yes, did you see that, under the, schematic? Oh, you did, you changed that, fine, good.
You good?
Yeah.
I added a "the" in the last line on the bottom of the page,
Where are we?
underneath recommendations at the very bottom.
Okay, what are you noticing?
Valued services to the broadest and largest segments. To the, between to and broadest.
Oh.
Okay.
mhm.
Okay, got it. Okay, we're good with 6? 7?
Page 6. All right, moving to page 7.
And the first bullet, I would delete that, because we start this description with that colon.
Ah, you're right.
Where are we again?
Got it.
So can we change that to design professionals also, since we used that before?
Yes.
Yes, I will do that now. Okay,
Under relevant considerations, I don't know that the
7.
under relevant considerations, the first paragraph, the end of the last line, a smaller existing playground on the east side of the facility would be used. I don't think we can say that. I think we might change it to could be used, but I don't think
okay.
we could say would.
The,
Absolutely.
Yeah. I would say could be retained.
Okay, anything else in here?
The last bullet up at the top of the page,
Yes?
it should be the town explore the potential availability.
so where are we again?
Where are we?
Right where your cursor is on the last bullet.
Explore the potential availability, that one?
Yes.
Yes.
Is it-
Oh, because you say the town engage.
Yeah.
with due
bullet
diligence
telling
in
the
mind, the
town
town.
what to do, so that one, the town should also be exploring.
Okay, with due diligence in mind.
Oh, next one down.
And you've got periods on all of those bullets in that paragraph.
Oh, Bruce, thank you.
Well, you have to, they're all sentences.
They're all sentences, it's different.
You have to have the,
Yeah, the other was phrases, but I'm still not catching what somebody wants me to change here. Which,
The last
okay, I've got
bullet,
3 bullets at the top of the page. Which one am I looking at?
The third one
Okay,
should read the town explore. Put the town right at the
Ah.
beginning.
Should consider.
Yep.
okay, we're good now?
Consider the prospect.
And back to relevant considerations under the library,
Yes.
the second to last sentence, third to last sentence. I didn't quite understand the way that was written, so I would, my suggestion for that sentence would be, this could give large open spaces utilizing the existing steel girders.
Okay, this could give large open spaces.
Instead of give, could use something like result in,
Or yield.
achieve, enable.
Okay,
I don't like the word give.
What's the word we use, Kevin?
result in is fine.
Result in.
Yield, any of those are fine.
In large open spaces.
Yeah.
Given the Is that what you were saying?
I said utilizing the existing steel girders.
How about we reverse that and say the pre-existing steel girder construction could result in large open spaces?
There you go.
That's good too. Yep, better.
Ah,
Door C sounds like the right one.
So why do we have to say pre-existing? Why can't we just say existing?
I agree.
Yes.
They're only existing.
You know, this is going to be the premier report that has ever been submitted to
Well,
a town
that's
from
good.
a
They should get,
committee.
I want a plaque in town hall,
And
okay?
you know what's going to happen then? That means they're going to want you on all the other committees.
Oh, there's a price involved now.
But nobody's ever gonna read this, you know, they're gonna read that first page.
I was trying to think of all the other reports we've ever done, and most of the time they're PowerPoint presentations that
That's
are
right.
like 6 slides, right, Betsy?
Yes,
Well,
easy, better.
Can we make that the existing steel girder construction? Or is it clear enough the way it is?
No, I think construction, I think is better.
Yes.
Okay,
Or framework.
framework would be fine too.
The last word of the paragraph, instead of used, could we substitute the word retained?
Say again?
Last word in that paragraph, a small existing playground on the east side of the facility could be retained instead of used.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but that implies that you're going to retain the playground equipment.
No, it just says could be.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not committing anybody
I
to,
just don't like the word used.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, it's a
It's a
better word.
choice.
okay.
any other comments?
Yes?
Yes, I have serious questions now about the whole projected cost area. Not the language.
Before we jump to that, Betsy,
Yeah.
under Parks and Rec, it says their ideal facility. And
Yeah.
I just don't know if we want to say ideal, although that is the way,
That's their presentation, though.
that was their
Yeah.
presentation, but it's tough because it's kind of indicating perfection and
Yeah.
They're not getting that.
Well, if you take a look at the slides Mary gave me, she's using the word ideal. It's
I did go back and look at those today. That's why I didn't write this in the email I sent to you a minute ago. Just reading it again now, I still, I don't know, if we agree and we want to leave it, I'm fine with that.
oh, you know, we can put in. Why don't I've got a suggestion. How about their assumed ideal facility?
Or their desired facility.
You have to remember, Mary's going from 0 to 100 in
Yeah.
one shot here. So anything to her is going to be ideal. But I do think we should scale that word back a little bit.
Yeah,
But I don't want to take her word away from her, but I think that qualifying it is important.
How about changing ideal to recreation, make it a more than satisfactory facility?
Well, that doesn't sound good.
No, it doesn't. I really
what about-
remember, she said ideal, but we can say they're assumed or they're proposed or whatever.
So do you want,
Suitable, what about suitable or acceptable?
how about instead in the beginning, say, according to Parks and Rec Director Mary Knox, this gives Parks and Recreation.
No, we haven't mentioned anybody's names in this, so let's be
Okay,
careful.
so according
to their presentation.
their presentation, this gives,
According to their presentation.
or just at the end, yeah, it's fine too.
Yeah,
She actually used the words dream facility, which she doesn't have big dreams.
yeah, right.
I'd want a Madison Square Garden if I was in
What the heck?
the facility.
This also says ample parking. Is that her term or?
Oh,
can we
where
get-
are we with the parking again?
Just the previous sentence, Loretta. In
Okay, yeah, just take out ample again.
yes, just say
Yeah.
parking.
I still think we have to build a parking structure down the hill, but that's me.
All right, we're talking about projected costs.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Betsy, you have some concerns. What's the deal?
Well, I look at this and we say that Tecton says that it will cost $360 a square foot to do the necessary renovations to this building to make it habitable, whatever they want to call it. They make it a school. I'm not quite sure then why we're using estimates for the library of 300 to 350 and for a proposal for Parks and Rec. Yes,
Okay, but
Sorry.
we're saying, okay, we did say as a school here. So.
Yeah, but
we want
all
to
of
be careful.
But all of the things they're talking about doing, we have to do to make a library and a Parks and Rec out of it.
Yes,
So
yes
it's
and
not
no.
like,
I mean, in some ways, and Kevin knows, course, I don't. It's almost like fish and fowl, because if you're keeping it as a school, you've got classrooms, and you may put in better windows and fix the roof and change the boiler, but you're still going to use those classroom spaces. We're talking about library. We're saying knock all those walls down.
and we're quoting a lower price for the library.
Hmm.
And
Sometimes it's cheaper to do that though.
But why? I don't understand why, if in the library area, it's going to cost $360 a square foot to do everything, the plumbing, the heating, the whatever else they're talking about, all of the windows presumably being close to being replaced, putting in air conditioning. Even though I don't think that may be included, I'm not sure that that's included in their things for the school. That's $360 a square foot. You're saying, well, no, we're going to build a library for less than that. I realize we're doing less than that in Parks and Rec, although I think if you get in there, nobody's going to say this is just fine.
Well, once you start ripping things down, I mean, part of me, and maybe I'm reading your mind, Betsy. I looked at this and I went, we're talking about making a beautiful library by knocking everything down and creating this wonderful space on one side of the building. On the other side, we're saying you could more or less leave it the way it is. And I thought I would have a real moment of dissonance as I walked in that building.
Well, I would too. I mean, and the entire outside of the building almost has to be redone. And I read this thing from Tecton and it says, if we rate this thing poor, it's at the end of its life. And in 5 to 10 years, we'll think about replacing it. What kind of an attitude is that it's the kind of attitude, yes, you get on public buildings that we say it's at the end of the life, in 5 years, we'll replace it. I just have a hard time with the costs. If Tecton is right, that doing things to this building is $360 a square foot, that's the minimum that we're going to pay, at least for the library end, and probably for the Parks and Rec end, because this is fundamental stuff in the building that needs to be done to the building, regardless of its use.
Can I interject?
Mhm.
Again, what we're doing here is subject to architectural review. We've developed guesstimates of costs. Now, if you can either dismiss that entire approach, or you can take exception to very specific numbers. Again, the purpose of this is to just give a very broad framework for the selectmen and telling them subsequently that what we would suggest they hire an architectural firm to go through all of this. I'm not sure I understand everything that you've said, but what specific numbers are you taking exception to?
I am taking exception to the first line here, which says the guesstimate is it would cost 300 to 350. When I know the $400 was for building a new building, but Tecton says it's going to cost 360 to do the renovations that they think are necessary to the building.
Okay, I'm going to make a
So why
suggestion.
are we having a lower cost when, in addition to all of the changes in the systems to the building, we're talking about knocking things down and rebuilding walls?
Okay, I think what we need to do is start off by saying, subject to architectural review, the town should get more, the most accurate estimates that they can for construction of, for renovation of the space versus construction, because we started with that. We are not mentioning what we put into that bullet up in the beginning in the executive summary.
Yeah.
I think we have to start off, because that's the only fair thing to say, is that town's responsible for hiring those design professionals and coming up with real numbers. Then we could say, from the previous estimates that were done, this is what we know. Is
Kevin,
that fair?
Kevin, I have a question in terms of these costs. What is difference? What would be the big drivers that would be different from making this into a school versus a library / Parks and Rec? What are the big drivers that would be different?
A school has more safety requirements. So there's going to be, a school should cost a little bit more than a library or Parks and Rec type of facility, just because anything with children and in a congregation situation like that.
You've got a lot more occupants per square foot than you do in a school, in any school, than any library, right?
Okay.
So commensurate with that, you've got a lot more space for restrooms. You've got a commercial kitchen, which you wouldn't have. So some of those high ticket items, you need more stalls, urinals, basins. The cost of bathrooms are very high vis-a-vis classroom or library carrel space.
Knowing that we're going to be wrong no matter what number we put in there,
Right.
can we use 350 across the board for both entities?
I think what we can honestly say is that this is what we know from previous estimates. We're not saying they're accurate for this purpose or they're accurate going into the future.
I think the number that's throwing us off is the $400 per square foot, because that was not the construction cost for the library. It was actually a little bit higher. It was like 410 or 412 or something like that.
For 19.
That included fit up. That included furniture and other items.
Oh, really?
It was not just construction. So I don't know the breakdown, but maybe Yvonne or Betsy does. But the breakdown, I assume, would be more like 350, and the other $50 to $65 a square foot was really for fit up and furniture and library shelving and corrals, things like,
But wouldn't that be true here too? In other words, in both instances, we're talking about simply construction costs, and in both instances, you're going to need furnishings.
Yeah,
I agree with what Betsy's saying in terms of whatever, when they start getting into this building, whether it's heating, air conditioning, plumbing, the entire exterior, that's going to encompass the entire building. You're not going to do the library one way and, like she mentioned, leave the Parks and Rec end as it is. I mean, that would be ridiculous. So these functions, just for the infrastructure, are going to affect the entire building. So that's why I'm getting a little bit hung up on why, and I understand what you're saying, Loretta, in terms of, obviously this is all subject to what we know from the past, but I can't see our need to propose seriously different prices for these two things.
Well, exactly, and this is the area where we do that, and we could easily take that out.
Well, yes, and as a point of information, Kevin asked about the fits and furnishings for the library. There was no breakout just for that. There was $1 million for all of the internal equipment, plus some ground testing around the site at the town hall. So out of the 14.2 whatever it was, $1 million covered all of the equipment plus some other costs.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning. What do we, I'm suggesting that we go back to the executive overview and put something in at the beginning of this that reflects that responsibility of the town for hiring the professionals to do the design and estimates. Is everybody okay with that?
Yes,
Okay, so let me go back to the beginning.
I was only one voice. Everybody else, please pipe in.
Well, can we just use that last bullet point?
Yeah, more or less. I mean, it's not.
I think what you have to do is
You have to
start
make
with,
it fit.
I think you have to do is start with the principles of what you're trying to convey. One is, I think what we're trying to paint is a sense that it's cheaper to renovate than build new, and that there are different classifications or price structures for both renovations and build new, depending upon the intended purpose. So somehow, and then obviously the third dimension is how you want it, if we did want to slant any of those conclusions or, postulates. But I think if you start very simple with, at a high level, what is the message we're trying to convey? Are we trying to say that it's in fact, the place has good bones, it's going to be less costly to renovate? And while the renovations may vary between intended purpose, i.e. school versus library versus Class A office space and exercise rooms for Park and Rec probably being the cheapest, right? We want to somehow broadly paint that kind of a picture. And whether or not we apply specific dollars to it is another conversation.
Okay, so I would agree with the first sentence. Now, how do we want to summarize the rest of that? I hear what you're saying, Bruce. I'm not sure we're taking a stand either way, since we don't have the expertise to know.
Right. So
But
you're just trying to rank them, is it more like a ranking or?
I don't even think it's a ranking. I think we're saying, hey, guys, this is what we recommend the site be used for.
Uh-huh.
You hire the folks to decide which is the most effective way to do it.
Well,
I sure as hell don't know.
I would suggest that if the committee is comfortable with the guesstimate, that it's important to give the selectmen our guesstimate of what the cost might be, anywhere from a nickel to $10. I think we would be missing the opportunity to put flesh and scope on all of this.
I would like to see one thing added to this,
Huh?
which would probably take care of the whole thing.
What's that?
Where it says projected cost,
Yes.
add 2020 there.
Very good.
2020 projected cost?
Yes.
Okay.
Because when we did the library plans, if you probably don't recall, there was a price and it said for every year after this year that you start doing this, add $375,000 to the cost.
That's
As an
6%.
escalation.
Yeah.
Every year, and this has gotten worse. I mean, we know that right now. Okay. Is everybody noticing what I've been doing? And not,
Yes, I'm
Okay.
watching it.
Okay, let's take a look at what I put at the beginning. It is assumed that the town must engage design professionals to develop a plan and estimate supporting the conversion of the center school to a library and parks and recreation facility, as well as a plan and estimate for a tear down and construction of a new building for similar use. Then I wrote this: subject to an architectural review, accurate current construction costs should be used to make all decisions. Good?
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay.
yes.
Then I added the phrase in front of what we started with before. Based on earlier studies, we could change the word reports or whatever you want. Then we continue with what we knew before.
Well, if you go
Wait,
back to our committee charge, it says at the very bottom, at some point in the future, we will most likely act on your report. so that we hire a design firm. We expect that design firm would also estimate the costs of implementation.
Mhm.
So
So
we're
we're
not,
just reiterating.
we're not charged with doing anything about estimating costs.
Can I suggest on that sentence where Loretta's cursor was just a second ago, based on earlier studies, the guesstimate for the cost of the renovation of the space, instead of for the library, could we say, based on earlier studies, the guesstimate for the cost of renovating, well, for the cost of the renovation of the space, and then take out for the library, would
Yeah.
be about 300 to 350. The Tecton, and where did we get that? Which,
That was from their report on the center school. So renovation of the center school, maybe we should say.
That's the Tecton statement. The other one is, the first sentence comes from Kevin, right?
I think we need to differentiate between the cost of doing a large part of the building for a library from doing a considerably less expensive piece of work in order to make the remaining space adequate for parks and recs.
Right, that was my point.
Well, that's why I highlighted it in yellow, because I think we're all having an issue with this because it makes it look like we're doing one place platinum level and the other one bronze. That's not a good idea.
No, not.
No, it's based on the different requirements and codes.
Yeah,
I'm going to respectfully disagree because I think when they start getting into the infrastructure,
Yeah,
the heating, the cooling, the plumbing, the electrical, the costs are going to run up just about the same.
yeah, I think the 150 to 200 is too low for the.
Yes. So I'm going to take this all out with everybody's approval. Yes, just cut it.
Yep.
Going.
I agree with that. I think you should talk in terms of 300 to 350 for the entire building.
Bear with me because I'm very hard of hearing. Why did we just strike that?
Because it suggested we were renovating the two spaces differently, when in fact, much of it would be the same.
No, I disagree with that. If that's what the committee feels.
My feeling is that the renovation is so much of it is going to be across the building. You're not going to put in separate heating. You're not going to put in separate cooling and systems. All the electrical is going to have to be upgraded. The outside of the building is going to have to be upgraded, entirely. I think we're going to see the cost, if we really want to divide it, by use. I think it's going to be very close. Now, I'm excluding furniture and supplies at the moment, but I'm talking just about the infrastructure of the building. I don't think we're going to see that much of a difference in the cost per square foot.
Exactly.
we do have an opportunity on the next page under the paragraph where it says pragmatically, we have an opportunity to split it out there. When we talk about the minimum cost to rebuild, we could identify separately there if we like. When we get to page 8.
You want me to go down there? Okay. Are we all happy with 7 before we move on?
I have just one question.
Yes.
Kevin, remind me again where the 300 to the 350 came from?
Well, that's Tecton's number.
Okay, but then in the next line, it says the 2018 estimate is that based on?
Yeah, I think I think the 3 to 350 is just a lower version of what Tecton.
Yeah, I know.
So
I also would qualify the 400 for the previous library referendum because that was fit up also.
Okay, so here
You don't
we've
want
got an issue. Okay,
For the library's sake, they don't want to seem like they're asking for a Taj Mahal.
okay. Take a look at what I just highlighted. Should we remove that phrase, a cost of per square foot in the vicinity of 360, because it does look odd?
Counteracts that.
No, I think that's okay because it backs up our rough, guesstimate of 3 to 350. We could even, somehow qualify that and say,
Okay, all right.
it
I
gives
think it's
that
okay to leave it
these
there.
are professionals and these are the numbers that they use.
Okay, all right. Then we're going down here, and And what I'm hearing is at about $400 per square foot seems to be an issue as well.
Well, I just did the math on that, and with the only number we have to split it out, to split out the furniture and fixtures is a $1 million, approximately $1 million amount, but that did include other things. So
Yeah,
if you subtract the full $1 million from the 14.7 original price and divide it by 35,000 square feet, you get $391. And since it did include other things, I think at about 400 is still going to be okay.
all right.
If you look at the math that way, but I'm still confused about the inconsistency, or we should at least say where the guesstimate came from in that first line, because we attribute the next estimate of 360 to the Tecton report. So I think we need to attribute where the 300 to 350 square foot guesstimate.
Okay, you say based on the input of,
Well, we say at the beginning, based on earlier studies, but Yvonne, you're saying we should quote a study or reference a study? Reference,
I think it would give it a little bit of, it would clarify a little bit why there's a little bit of discrepancy.
Legitimacy.
Yeah, and I think it is inconsistent. So if we could say, look, this was an estimate from this place, this is the Tecton estimate, clearly that's the ballpark, that's your.
okay, there is something we haven't said here. We have qualified the Tecton report and said where they're renovating as a school. Perhaps it would help you, Yvonne, if we said based on earlier studies, the guesstimate to do this for a multi-use building or community building. In other words, to be able to show that there's a difference between the two types of facilities that would be renovated.
But we still don't have any specifics on one earlier study that comes up with that 300 to 350.
I think that was Kevin's professional opinion. Yes, no?
I think it's in the ballpark. I don't do construction estimating though. I just hear about it when I'm at meetings. So I don't.
Okay.
I
would like to propose that we take that 300 to 350 out and just use the Tecton estimate of 360.
Okay.
And don't put 2 in there, because I mean, I'm sitting here looking at it and I'm not clear, and I've been looking at it with you guys all along too.
Okay.
So somebody reading this for the first time is going to look at us like, you know.
I was surprised in the Tecton report too. They said that for ADA compliance, you need one male and one female bathroom on every floor, and that's it.
That's hideous. I mean, New York State used to have engineering estimates. You need twice as many or 3 times as many female bathrooms as male bathrooms. So I don't want to hear about that.
That's bathroom. That's not fixture count. That's bathrooms. That's just the room. You can have 50.
Not the size.
Inside.
Comments on page 7?
Yeah, a lot of the ADA bathrooms are single use.
Yes.
And I think that whole gender
in general.
designation is going to go away at some point anyway.
In general, bathrooms are going to single use because of the gender issue.
Right.
Oh, God.
Bathrooms are going that way. It's going to happen. Yeah.
I don't want to talk about that.
Exactly. That's another commission.
The very first line, based on earlier studies, I would like to suggest we change that to based on the cost, or based on the, I'm not sure what I want to say.
Based on the Tecton study.
Based on the Tecton, yeah, based on that. Just take
Okay.
from on to from right out of there, or from earlier from right out. I don't like that guesstimate.
Yeah. Say based on the Tecton study.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think we just clarified and simplified that tremendously.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm going to say based on the Tecton
Hold on.
architect.
No, let me fix it. Based on Tecton's estimate, the cost of renovation of the center school as a school would be What would cost? That's all.
Now, if we want to expound upon after the 360, say something to incorporate Kevin's opinion that it would be a little bit less because it's not a school, that's fine. But, and that, in the very first sentence, it should be based on the,
Based on the Tecton architects.
yeah. Now, if we want to add a clarifier after the 360 to incorporate Kevin's thinking, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I think you just keep the one number
Yeah.
Okay.
Estimate, I think we need to
Explain
comment.
why, how.
based on the Tecton Architects 2018 estimate, comma.
Do we, yeah, I was just gonna say, do we need a comma there
Yeah.
after estimate?
Yes.
We,
And I wouldn't say would cost, I would say could cost,
Or might.
might cost, fine.
okay.
Well, that says cost in 3 places in that sentence.
I see, you're catching me with
That's
before I.
That's right.
You want to substitute
Or
cost,
just might be.
or change the first cost to be expenditure?
No, we don't even need any of it. Rich.
You don't need it. You just say the
Instead of
renovation,
cost. Okay,
the renovation might cost. You need the renovation.
Yeah. No, not really.
yep.
Oh, renovation of center school, as a school might cost you.
I would change that semicolon to or approximately.
Okay. Oh, where am I?
I'm not sure the semicolon is the right punctuation.
I know, I can't find it now.
19.4 million, second line.
Oh, okay.
And I would change vicinity to be range. Vicinity implies geographical proximity,
Or in the range of,
so range sounds better.
okay, good, got it. Okay, everybody happy with that paragraph now?
Ready, you got patience, having 9 backseat drivers.
No, actually, can I go back to this? The word range doesn't really work because you've only got one piece of the range. So
Ah,
you can just say approximately.
Yeah, or approximately $360 a square foot.
Yeah.
That'll work.
Too many English majors, right?
Right?
no, chemistry majors.
Or frustrated English teachers.
For that last line by reference of that same paragraph, by referencing this proposal using a cost of 300 to 350. Did we want to,
That has to
change.
change now.
Or just add something after the million period.
Well, the problem we have here is when we're talking about the number of square feet in the new library, it would be that, what is it, 40,000 square feet? That number is no longer good. Because we have left out the 14,000 square feet for the Parks and Rec.
No, that number is still good if you look at the overall square footage of the facility. There's 54,000 square feet in the building. And
Okay,
if the library takes 35,000 operating square feet and 5,000 square feet for storage, that leaves 15,000 square feet for Parks and Rec.
so you're saying the 12 to 14 million would cover all the square footage in the building?
The entire building.
Okay, then we have to say that.
It doesn't though.
No, it doesn't.
Change the number.
Huh?
Just get a calculator out and calculate it.
Yeah, it's
Calculated. I thought this
You're
number
gonna be
was
back
for
to
the
the
library.
19 million.
Yeah.
You're at 19 million.
Yeah, you're back to that.
Unless you
Well-
want to qualify that sentence at the beginning and say, assuming library and park facility
Say for the entire,
lower than a center, than a school construction. So we assume 300 to 350 instead of the 360 that Tecton used.
Right.
So why are we doing that?
that's incorrect to say for the entire building.
So I would disagree with that.
What are you disagreeing with, Betsy?
That I would say 90% of these costs are going to apply to both ends of this building. Because they are costs that have to do with the systems that are there now, which are about to go bad.
Yeah.
Of which would apply to the entire building, right?
Wait a minute.
Can I just go back to what are we trying to say in that paragraph? We've said that the Tecton estimate would be approximately using 360 per square feet would be 19.4 million to renovate it as a school. Then we're saying the proposal for the new library was 35,000 square feet at 400. We don't total that out. So we should say which, or, you know, or 14.7 million. And then we don't need the rest really.
So yeah, you're saying that to build new would cost 400 or $400 a square foot
Well,
for.
I'm sorry, to be consistent, I was just saying that we give the total cost by multiplying, by quoting Tecton's amount of 19.4 million, but we don't give the total cost of the 2018 proposal for the new library. And I'm not clear what that last sentence really gives anyone.
Last sentence is wrong. That's got to come out.
Yeah, I think we just eliminate that.
But I hear what Yvonne is saying too.
Yeah, or you recalculate it based on the size of the entire building at the lower cost per square foot for construction.
Why?
No, if you wanted to draw, just if you want to put a reference there of, you know, renovation as a school versus renovation as a town multipurpose building, just to draw a comparison. But you have to sum both the library space and the park and rec space.
Yeah.
Which will get.
I think the interesting comparison would be that the library was 35,000 square foot before for 14.7 million, and now it's 54,000 for possibly 19 million. So it's almost 20,000 more square foot.
Yeah, that's more, Kevin, I think that's more apples to apples. Like we're saying, this is the report we had, and this from Tecton, and this is what they said. This is the proposal from the new library project, and this is what it said.
That's right.
So I think we're taking out, I can suggest taking out the last sentence, and then after the $400 per square feet, also saying, or a total cost of 14.7 million, which is from that 2018 proposal.
Mhm.
So we sort of complete that thought and we say, these are the two solid pieces of information that we have. We have a Tecton report, we have a center school, or we have a proposal from an architect for a new library. And these were the costs. So Loretta, right where your cursor is now,
Okay.
I'm recommending, I don't know how everybody else feels, but to put in what Kevin was saying, which is, you know, or a total cost of 14.7 million.
I would just suggest putting it before that, and so it's in the same sequence as the cost, then total cost, then square foot in the first one.
Okay, right, yes.
And make it total cost. So projected 35,000 square feet, costing, what it
Oh,
was?
you're right, yes,
So it flows like the prior sentence.
right, exactly. So Loretta, go, yeah,
Am I in the right spot?
might cost, no, I would go, wait a minute. Proposal projected 30 foot, no, go to the next.
There.
35,000 square feet. So you want to go up one more line.
Because that's where I was here. Yeah.
No, and then go down, now go down a line. You go.
Well, that's okay. I'll move the spaces. I'm just looking to insert something.
No, it doesn't go there though. It would go, you want to get rid of those spaces. Then it says the 2018 proposal for the new library referendum projected 25,000.
35,000 square feet.
Sorry, 35,000. The 2018 proposal for the new library referendum projected 35,000 square feet at a cost of 14.7 million or approximately 400 square feet.
Cost of,
That bit that you're typing belongs earlier. Right after 35,000 square feet.
okay.
So it follows the same format as the sentence before. We have total cost resulting in a cost per square foot of X.
Right, right.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Now, anything else?
Or approximately
400 per square feet. Or approximately $400 per square foot.
Okay.
does
So
that
I'd
do
read
what we wanted
So
to
it
do
reads
then?
just like the prior sentence.
Okay. Now, what about the next piece here?
We've got to qualify that, Howard, if we're going to come up with a lower estimate to renovate that building.
Well, then we have to go back to what Kevin was saying before. Due to the different requirements and codes for a community building, or the lesser.
But
Then we've got to be able to say that.
we're going to be doing a lot of work to this building, whether it's in the code or not. I mean, the library in particular is, if you say, well, we're going to rip out all the walls and start over, that's got to be entered in there somewhere. And I don't believe it's going to reduce the cost per square foot by that much.
But I think Yvonne suggested earlier that we go down here into the pragmatically part. And that's where I think we can put some of that, Betsy, that we have to be able to say that as we are talking about internal construction here, possibly a roof or a couple of other external things, but by and large, any work that would have to be done on the exterior structure might be at an additional cost. We don't know.
So then should we just leave that sentence out?
This next one?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, cut it out.
I mean, the only other thing is to possibly say, due to the differences in code requirements for schools versus other types of facilities, it may be a lower cost, but we're already saying approximately 360, and the lower cost was approximately 350. So
Right.
I don't know that we're gaining any real information by confusing it.
Mhm. Yeah.
I'd like to take the next section right out too.
Well, except that we talk about the library here, and if we don't say something about Parks and Rec, it's going to look a little odd. I'd love to say something, but make sure that it's very succinct.
All right.
Because we also have those are needs we've identified in the bullets. So we could say renovating and upgrading the old section for Parks and Recreation, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, baseball, rec, Republican would require similar costs.
I would just say, I would leave out the names of all these organizations. other than Parks and Rec and just say town organizations that might use.
Good, good.
I would simplify, I would get rid of that whole paragraph. I would simplify it, and if you're gonna do anything, I would go back to my earlier suggestion, just saying, assuming, community center library construction is lower than school costs. Say it's 10% less, say it's use $320 a square foot or something to say, here's a number times 54,000 square feet. And it's a lump sum number for the whole building. Parks and Rec might cost lower and library might cost a little bit higher when you're done, but for sure, all the facilities are going to be done the same. They have to be. It's the most cost-effective way to go.
Yeah,
So it's going to be one building. There's going to be doors between them. That's it.
yes. How's that sentence?
And it's
No,
not reusing
that's
the word
misleading.
park.
That's misleading. That's a misleading statement because it's less space. So you need to apply, have a similar sentence like we had above, resulting in a cost of X, approximately X per Y per square foot.
Okay,
Or similar cost of construction or similar cost for renovation.
That's what I'm gonna arrive at, right? You need to put bounds around it. You can't say it's the same because it's about a third of the space.
Well, but also, we're talking about the Tecton, which is upgrades to the building as is and building a new library. That's not, and then we're going to go back and say, well, but it's not going to cost us very much to do Parks and Rec.
I don't think you're comparing apples to apples here. This bottom sentence is strange. It doesn't belong there. You're talking about renovating the school as a building. You're talking about a proposal to build a library. These are separate items. Now we're going to put that knowledge together and come up with a proposal to renovate the school into a library plus community center.
Can I make a point, please?
Yeah.
I strongly disagree with saying that it would require a similar cost of construction per square foot. If you look at the wish list for Parks and Recs, and you look at the allocation that I made using the existing floor plan, would be comprised of 8 existing classrooms, 2 existing offices, 1 small dining conference room existing, the gym, the cafeteria, the kitchen, the music room, the stage, the backstage area, external storage, under open space in the courtyard, and 1 playground with a large grass area. Almost everything that Parks and Recs would need pre-exists. It just needs to be tweaked for one of the
Freshened up, fresh coat of paint and some carpet or something. That was my
maybe
point.
yes, and maybe no. We don't know what that kitchen looks like.
No,
There's a lot of things we don't know.
it needs way beyond a fresh coat of paint. The mechanical
Yeah.
system is all failing. All plumbing, mechanical, heating, electrical.
Yeah.
But I share Frank's point as well. That was the point I was trying to make earlier, that it's going to be less money now.
It will be less, yes.
Yeah. So all I wanted to show was just put a number out there to wrap it up, saying, pick a number. If it's $350, pick $350 a square foot, but come to a total, what we believe is a total cost to renovate the building.
I agree.
For the 2 intended purposes.
I agree.
So, yeah.
That's what I'm
all I was
saying.
trying to
Say if Tecton said 360 for a school, say it's 10% less. Use
Yeah,
340.
exactly.
So Kevin, you had some wording there that you kind of wrapped up that possibility, or that phrasing. Can you give that back to
And
Loretta?
tell me where you'd like me to put it before you start.
Are you recording this? 'Cause
No, we're not recording it.
I forgot.
Actually, we can go back and look at the YouTube recording if you really want to get what you said before. Dan, can you let us do that?
It's something to the effect
Yeah,
of,
it's recording live, so you can always scroll back as you need to.
Okay,
Wow.
but first tell me where you want me to put whatever you're going to say.
I would eliminate that renovating, upgrading 1,400 square, just eliminate that sentence, eliminate the note space allocations are approximate. And this can be a standalone sentence, or it can be tacked on to paragraph 2 right there. But we can say based on this knowledge, based on these numbers, and assuming library and community center type construction would be a lower cost than school.
Hold on. Yes.
An estimate of $350 per square foot could be used, resulting in a total cost of,
Building renovations of.
Okay, give it to me.
an estimate of $350 per square foot can be used, or something. I'm talking out loud. You can refine it. Resulting in a total cost of whatever that is for building renovation.
The entire building.
Yeah. Well,
Would result
it comes out to 18.9 million. You could just say 19 million.
You want, which one do you want?
Round it up for government work.
Yeah, you always go to as many zeros as possible. 19 million.
Which is exactly what Tecton said their renovations would cost.
For the entire 54,000 square foot building.
Interesting.
This way they know we're talking about the whole building and the size of it.
No, that's
Okay.
That's perfect.
Would result in, you got an extra B in there
Oh, where am I?
on the last line.
I see.
Mm.
Thank you. Okay. All right.
Let's break that paragraph out though. Let's put that last sentence, let's break it out. I would say.
Make a new separate paragraph.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah,
And
yeah, I
then
like
I'll
that.
move this down to the next page.
Yeah.
Do we also want to say, I'm sorry, back to that sentence. I'm still struggling a little bit with the need to put it in, but instead of building construction, should we say building renovation? Because we're not talking about new construction at that cost.
The renovation would result in a renovation cost of 19 million.
I would also call it community center, not community.
And you have an extra N there.
Whoop. Okay. Yes.
Something's not
Change-
right. No, something's not right there.
Going once, going twice.
No.
No,
no.
change community building to center, community center. Because we're not redoing them.
Does that finish page 7? Any other comments on page 7?
Frank, you want to get us through this, huh?
Do we want to say, or do we want to say center or space? Assuming library and community space renovation.
Yeah, because we're not calling it a community center.
You would call
Yeah,
it
right.
center type construction,
Or
community
community facility renovation.
community facility. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like facility or center better than space.
Okay. Now are we happy?
By golly, I think we've done it, Jeeves.
Yay, page 8.
It was painful.
Square foot.
It was painful, but we got there.
Yeah, but you got to get it right.
Frank, you got something to add there?
No, we're now on page 8.
Okay. Yeah, we're on page 8.
If nobody else has a comment in the paragraph where it's called pragmatically, we have an opportunity there to separate it into 2 different costs. And the reason why I am thinking about that is because we're now at a cost here of $27 million. And that is going to be a very difficult number, especially since this Parks and Rec plan that we're suggesting is not on the current list of capital projects. And so I was just wondering if to rebuild at a minimum cost of 27 million for the 54,000 square feet, if we want to put some kind of a qualifying statement in there that says, you know, or this much to make it a library, and, you know, 27 million if we were to redo the whole thing for both facilities.
Okay, I agree with you completely, but you know, it bothers me. We already did our estimates above, which we painfully edited. Why are we putting this in here now? In other words, I think we're confusing things. We're adding more money, we're adding more square feet, we're giving them a higher cost per square foot for renovation. We're shooting ourselves in the foot. It's okay to say, you know, okay, if you really want to spend this much money for a building that's old, that's your choice. But for us to go back and start reworking this estimate makes no sense to me at all.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, partly what it's saying though is it doesn't matter what the estimates are wrong in the beginning of this paragraph. They're up to 19 million now. The fundamental question is, do you want to spend $19 million renovating a building 83 years old?
So let's just change that to say something to the effect of, you know, spending or, you know, utilizing town funds to renovate a building that is, let's just leave the dollars right out of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So let's start there and say, you know,
Okay.
utilizing town resources to renovate a building that is 83 years old.
You know, I wound up with that.
And built with combustible materials.
Right.
If you're going to
Needs
say that,
to
I
be
think
rigorously
the line
examined.
about it has sprinklers, because that's the reality of it. It is combustible.
Well,
It is sprinklers.
Yeah, you also have to bear in mind that all these wonderful condos and apartment buildings we're building are wood construction.
They're even worse than that. They're proud. They're what do you call it? Shred board.
But people live there. Well, the people live there and they're wood construction. So be careful with the.
Utilizing town resources or utilizing taxpayer dollars.
Yeah, I would say utilizing town resources or public resources or
Public funds.
public funds. I don't know, something to that effect.
Well, if you look at the Tecton report under key observations, general condition, fair to poor, age of the facility is problematic.
Yeah.
Most of the building is combustible construction with wood as the primary structural material. Wood frame construction is generally not ideal for a school, and that's true, but we're talking about two facilities, Parks and Recs and a library with a lot of townspeople in them. Now, condos, yes, I understand. Condos are one thing. There's a family that lives there. This is not a place where we can have 200 people in a room at the library doing things. Parks and Rec can have a whole bunch of people in the classroom or in their gym. I know it says also not adaptable for expansion.
A structure is designed to support and resist certain loads. So it doesn't matter what material you use to do it, whether it's wood, steel, concrete, rock, any material can be used to resist those loads. So as long as the wood is adequately designed to resist those loads, and this has an 83-year track record, and the Congregational Church, less than 200 yards away is twice as old as this.
Yeah.
Adequately hosting 200 people at a time every Sunday, and still doing its job. So the material used doesn't matter. It's whether or not the material was properly designed to resist those loads, and this has a track record that it can do it. Now, if you're talking about something where it's going to be taking abuse, I would think a library is going to have less abuse than a school, especially an elementary school. Maybe a high school would have higher abuse, where the walls are going to be banged into, things get slammed around. The gym is different. That is meant to be abused. The ball gets thrown around, things like that. But the classroom buildings where adults primarily or monitored kids are going to be, or the library, it's just not going to have the same abuse as a school building will. So yes, it's wood, but I'm a structural engineer. There is no problem with having this a wood building, none.
Okay,
You just
well,
have to think
and
of it.
I took out largely weight of wood because I think that was just, that became a political statement almost on our part.
You can leave it in there, but you have to add sprinklers. The
Yeah,
note
but I think we mentioned the
so
sprinklers
then
before.
we
The
know
one of
what they have.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying not to be redundant, but I think we have to take out this whole sentence that I've highlighted on the cost again, because I don't think it belongs here.
I think both last sentences have to come out.
Well, no, I think that, saying, okay, well, if you don't want to do this, maybe think about the police station.
Police station, I don't think there's a problem with
Okay.
mentioning that.
Yeah. I
No,
think that,
I think Jay made it very clear that that's not where he wanted to be.
I'm,
Well,
Well,
that's
in a
his
renovation,
opinion.
he didn't want to be there in a renovation situation, but potentially Ned knew, would he care where geographically a new police station would be located? I don't think so.
I would say another town facility.
Yeah.
I almost guarantee you, if you're going to tear this down
Okay,
and give the library choice for a new building, the library wants to go next to town hall. So if you give them a new building, I think that's where the library is going to go, and they probably won't go here. Just say
That's where the library should go.
again,
yay.
that's a whole nother meeting.
So can we move back up to the top and correct those numbers in terms of the size of the current library?
Yes,
Send us,
Yes, correct.
where are we?
in the second paragraph there.
Second-
Over here,
second
right?
bullet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
second bulletin. Up on
You
top.
get 9,000, you get 9,000 approved twice,
We had used 9,500 before,
right?
Okay,
6,500 and 3,000.
thank you for remembering.
left there.
Is that the only change? I hear.
No, right below it.
Right below it.
Yeah, okay.
And
That was the wrong change.
The 9,500 is not still 9,000.
Harvey?
The line above it should still say 9,000
Oh, it should, okay, all right.
No, why?
because
All right.
that's town hall.
You're correct.
Oh, yeah, because we're talking about the Board of Ed.
Ah,
Bob,
Square feet, Kevin?
Okay, you're right.
And you have a space between a foot and 2 square foot,
The upper level,
right?
how many square feet? Kevin?
Where are we? Hold on a minute, what happened?
No, we ran out of time.
No, oh, did we?
Yeah. This is the longest meeting we've had.
Oh, but there was something, it was so interesting, though.
These meetings
What-
aren't, we're not timed. I don't know. This one's not timed.
No, I was having a problem.
Oh,
This
okay.
is because of Spectrum.
Oh.
We get pauses, okay, but there was a space you wanted me to put in, where? Over here?
Yeah, right there.
Kevin?
Up.
Kevin?
yes,
No,
yes,
that didn't, no.
No,
I'm trying to reach Kevin.
yes, Frank.
Uh,
Go ahead.
Correcting this number, the square footage on the upper level is how many square feet?
6,500.
Huh?
6,500.
6,500.
Do you want me to put that in?
Yes.
Okay,
And
I
on
knew
that
it
same
didn't add
line,
up.
On that same line, all the way to the right, the lower level is 3,000 square feet.
How many?
3,000.
Thank you.
And I would recommend relocating or flipping these two bullet points, bullet point 1 and 2, and putting the Board of Ed as our first option instead of selling the building.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Well,
I would even put it at the end.
again,
What do
that's,
you think?
I think that's a selectman's decision. Somebody offered an enormously attractive price for the library building.
You're not going to get enormous because it's in a residential zone. So they'd have to go for a whole zoning change and all that. It's not really an attractive building for commercial use.
Yeah, well,
Well, again, it's our suggestion. It's not our decision. So
Yeah, I mean, other people.
I mean, I think it's a realistic thing to say.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Town buildings rarely get sold, I think so. I don't think that's,
All right, where are we now? Are we in the summary?
So I'm sorry, are we leaving in the part about there has been interest commercially for possible purchase?
Yeah, no, we could say that.
And I'm sorry, Kevin, I don't think I heard what you said. Did you say it's not currently zoned for commercial?
It's not.
No,
It could be zoned. They'd have to ask, it could be sold. They'd have to ask for a zone change though, which is possible. But
So I think if we're putting commercial interests in, then we have to address that it's not currently zoned for.
no, I
commercial.
wouldn't say anything because the town
No.
does, but very honestly, it could be sold for other purposes. I mean, you could put,
more,
you
more
could
likely it would
put
be
a
sold.
church there.
You could, it would more likely be sold for housing of some type. Because it is a residential neighborhood.
Yeah,
I would just leave it the way it is.
Yeah.
respectfully.
Yeah.
All right, are we down to the summary?
I believe.
okay.
In the second sentence, about 4 words in, it says fully realize. I would back off on fully because nobody's going to get everything they want. I would make that better realize their programming to
Substantially realize
I think to better realize is a good way to put it.
or better realize, yeah.
Okay, which word do you want?
Right there, fully,
Yeah, I know, what do you want to repeat?
better,
Better.
better.
It also looks like you've got a space before the very first word in that paragraph, the.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Boy, what an eagle eye. Yeah, put this on so we could all watch and see, you know.
At the end, in the third line, where it says a desirable place to live and raise a family, I just didn't know if you want to include other, like retire or something like that, because not everyone is here raising a family. So I didn't know if you want to broaden that somehow.
Live, raise a family and retire?
That's too picky.
No, I
No,
don't
I
think
thought
so.
that was a good addition, actually.
Yeah.
I think it's a good addition.
Red, I'm gonna ask you a nasty question.
Yes, sir.
And how difficult would it be to apply the function to square this off on the right-hand side?
I wouldn't do that.
Okay,
No,
No.
I think I have a slight problem with this next sentence. The 4 community organizations would also have the opportunity. Ooh,
Why don't we just say community organizations, just to
Yes.
generic?
yes.
Right.
Okay, any further comments?
I do, can I go back to the executive summary, the top line? There is a through, THRU.
Oh, you found another one?
Yes.
I thought we
Pre-K,
corrected that.
Where is it?
pre-K,
Top line.
top line.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, very first line.
With the-
Just-
Oh. Whoops. Okay, you got me. It's,
I typed my husband's master's thesis and the only typo in the entire document was in the first line.
oh, fascinating. Okay, so,
And that was in the days of typing, not computer generated.
I can sympathize with that as my wife typed both hers and mine in the same year.
Whoa.
I only type one paper for my husband who's buying.
Manual typewriter.
Okay, so the only other thing I'm going to work on is the committee members, I'm going to correct the spelling of Betsy's name.
Could I also say on the committee member list, I am a non-voting member, so it says library liaison, but is there some way to indicate? Betsy, do you know the proper term? I know ex officio, but I'm
Okay.
not sure that that's.
No, it's not ex officio, because ex officio people can be voting depending
Yeah.
on sides. I would just
I
say
would just
put
put
in
on-
non-voting.
Yeah,
Okay, I will attempt to do that. I will tell you though, whoever originally formatted that, did some screwy things. So I may actually retype the whole thing because it's easier sometimes to do that. And then I could put Betsy in alphabetically.
Oh, good. Can I also ask a question about, or comment that the, not the floor plan, the other, the drawing of the property,
The site plan.
the
Yeah,
site plan dates before the 1990s, because if you look at it, it's only half the building. I can
it's
get,
dated 1995 on the document. That's really.
but that's before they put the addition on. If you look at that very carefully, there's only half the building there.
You're right. This was included in the drawing set going out for construction in 1995. So this, you're right, this does not show the addition.
So do we have something more up to date?
We can use, I distributed a copy of the town's GIS mapping that had the whole, that had the contour lines on it, if you would like that.
Yeah, send me that because we certainly don't want to put in something that isn't accurate.
Well, it's accurate, it's just old.
Yeah, well, the building is different shape now.
Yes.
Okay, so you send that to me ASAP and we'll get that in. Anything else anybody else wants to do, care about? No?
Chairman,
Awesome.
yes, Mr. Chairman, are we ready to move the question?
Yes, I would like to, somebody can move the motion, please?
Motion to adjourn.
No, no,
You have to motion to adopt the report.
not yet. We need we need to move the motion to,
Motion to accept our final report is written.
all right, we've already got the motion on the floor, so we just have to move the motion, which I will do. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion is approved.
Awesome.
Yay.
Yay.
I'd like to thank you all very much. I will, I'm not going to send this off until you all have time to think about it for a day or two. And Loretta, you'll let me know when you're set.
A final page turner.
Yeah, let everybody just, let it settle for tonight. And then, we'll think about it for a day or so. Then we can send it off to the first selectman. But I congratulate you all on, a very diligent effort, a lot of hard work, and especially to Frank and Loretta for the hard work in putting this whole thing together. That was definitely.
When do we cease to exist as an entity? August 3rd?
August 3rd.
August 3rd, we go away.
August 3rd. Unless we ask for reappointment, which
Oh, no.
right now I'm not planning on doing, so.
You've
All
had
right, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
a motion to adjourn.
My second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Good night.
Take care, everybody.
Enjoyed working with you all.
Yes, very
Me
much so.
too.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.